Simmering down, indigenous protesters appear to be backing off. Help for small businesses in Bucaramanga. College students on the march in Tunja. Mirave, some of Colombia's best places to visit in Cali. From the RCN News Center in Bogota, I'm Brian Andrews. We're coming to you from the second floor. This is Contribuciones, where we take in news feeds, videotape from all over the great country of Colombia. And we have been watching for the last couple of days as indigenous Colombians have been rioting on the Pan American Highway. They're angry over promises from the government to go ahead and give them more land that have not been fulfilled, and they're upset over the murders of 2 tribal leaders. Well, after 3 days of violent protests, it would appear that things are starting to calm down a bit. Military officer Jairo Dario Chaparral was on the road to Popayan from Cali when he was stopped by indigenous protesters in the middle of the Pan American Highway. The indigenous said he was invading their territory. The Países Indians held him against his will for several hours, then beat him before letting him go free. The beating was an indigenous tradition of punishment.
According to them, he was going to be demanded because he infiltrated the march.
More than 1,500 Pijao and Países indigenous from dozens of different reservations traveled to El Espinal from El Guamo and Tolima to support the continued protests on the Pan American Highway.
I won't forbid them to protest. We respect it, but not blocking the roads or violence.
After several days of violent protests that had turned deadly at one point and had blocked the road for hours near Candelaria in the north of Valle del Cauca, that stretch of roadway is now clear. To Bucaramanga now, we told you how the mayor there has just started a virtual university to help promote higher education with members of his community. Well, now he has another new initiative, this one to help small business owners. That story from RCN's Oliver de Iglesias.
Hey Brian, Colombia's economy is growing and small business owners are trying to grow their organizations as well. And now these small businesses have a new potential source of funding coming from Bucaramanga's mayor office. Meet Maria Beatriz Rodado. She's been helped out by the new El Banco de Todos, a sort of everybody's bank. Last month, she applied for a small business loan to grow her shoe company. She didn't think she was going to get it quickly because things take time here in Colombia. I remember hearing somewhere that someone was giving loans to poor people, so I made an application, she said. Ana Maria is one of more than 200 people who have been helped by this new bank, a special initiative from the Bucaramanga's mayor office designed to promote small business growth.
Para fortalecer más a los microempresarios del
calzado. The focus of this project is to help grow business here, says the Bucaramanga's mayor. The program makes loans from 500,000 pesos to 5 millones de pesos. And unlike other loan programs, this one doesn't come with a lot of red tape.
Cuando la línea es hasta 2 millones de pesos,
when the loan is less than 2 million pesos, applicants only need to provide a personal reference. If it is more than 3 million pesos, other requirements need to be met. The new program hopes to encourage entrepreneurship in Bucaramanga. For RCN News in English, this is Oliver de Iglesias.
In other news, more than 6,000 college students from Tunja marched with their desks through the streets of the city. They're upset with a government plan to cut funding for their university, which has an operating deficit of 12 millones de pesos. RCN News has learned the military is now looking into whether the FARC shot down a helicopter in Tolima Wednesday, killing 2 soldiers and 2 civilians on board. The new twist in the investigation after radio communications between guerrilla chiefs were intercepted, calling the crash a FARC attack. Police in Cali say a 14-year-old boy shot and killed a 64-year-old man in a fight after both collided on their bicycles on a street in Cali. In Pereira, police arrested 6 people accused of being part of a band of criminals robbing apartments. The arrests happened at a hotel where members of the band were trying to pass themselves off as agents of the DAS and police in order to get a room. The big expo continues in Cali through the weekend. It's a huge fashion show with some of the country's most beautiful models. There's also been a huge influx of tourists and visitors in the city this week. RCN's Ana Maria Hernandez takes us on a tour of the town.
Brian, Cali is the capital of Valle del Cauca, and it is known all over the world as the land of salsa and Paris. But as you're about to see, there's so much more in Cali. The city has a fantastic colonial architecture. La Merced is the city's oldest church. Next to it, an old house, as seen frozen in time.
Aquí se funda nuestra ciudad el 20.
There is where our city was born on July 5th, 1536, he says. In a neighborhood of the west side of the city, you can still see stone streets and the open water system from 16th and 17th century Cali. During this time, religion was embraced by Caleños, and a famous mountain neighborhood and church were named after a saint, San Antonio.
Esta es una capilla del siglo XVIII.
This 17th century chapel, which is a convent today, continues to be one of the most popular places for religious pilgrimage in the city.
Religiosas más importantes de Santiago de Cali.
So there's more in Cali than salsa and heat. The city is full of history with nearly a dozen museums helping to preserve its religious and cultural heritage. For RCN News in English, I'm Ana Maria Hernandez.
I have a lot of friends who are from Cali. They say, Brian, you got to come visit. All right, I promise I'll visit soon. We leave you today in, of all places, Cali, of course, where the big expo is going on, because right now it is the most fashionable place in Colombia. As you can see, some of Colombia's most beautiful women are walking the runway. I'm going to walk on out of here. I'm Brian Anders reporting from Bogota. You're watching RCN News in English, bringing Colombia to the world.